So we're moving on to a guy that I compare to Russell Wilson a lot. Both play in the Pacific Northwest. One has a championship, the other one doesn't. And that is one Damian Lillard. Much like Russell Wilson last year in 2021 dealt with a lot of injuries in the NFL, Damian Lillard dropped off from 29 points and 8 assists to 24 points, just 29 games, and a level of efficiency in three-point shooting that is not typical for a superstar. Okay, just an All-NBA player of Damian Lillard's caliber. Every single year, Dame has been able to carry this team to the playoffs until he couldn't last year. My question for you guys is, the Trailblazers go on and get Jeremy Grant, the best wing player, or best forward Dame's going to have since LaMarcus Aldridge. Anthony Simons is a guy who broke out for 23 points and 6 assists, or I think it was like 8 or 9 when Dame was out of lineup. This Trailblazers team is better than anyone they have had post-2015. Will they make the playoffs this season? And I'm about to list to you the playoff teams in this conference because there's about 10 of them. You have the Phoenix Suns, number 1 seed last year. The Memphis Grizzlies, number 2 seed last year. Golden State Warriors, the defending champions. The Los Angeles Clippers, maybe the biggest competitor to dethrone the Warriors. The Minnesota Timberwolves, we just talked about. The Denver Nuggets, who have the reigning 2-time MVP. That is 6 teams. Now you have Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks getting Christian Wood. The Los Angeles Lakers, who have championship gravitas. That's 8. And the New Orleans Pelicans, who get Zion Williamson back. That is 9 teams right there. And the Kings, too, are trying to win games with DeMontis Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Can the Trailblazers make it to the postseason with one or two of those teams being behind them in the standings when it's all said and done?
Justin, I'll let you go for this one.
I think not a chance. Not a chance. I think the Western Conference is just fully loaded. I mean, Brandon said it not too long ago. I mean, are we going to celebrate a play-in? Like, I could see this team making a play-in game maybe, but saying that they're going to go to the playoffs and be one of the top 8 seeds, not a chance.
Yeah, for me, no, I don't. No, they're not making the playoffs. Maybe a play-in, but again, like Justin said, I'm not giving you no goddamn respect or admiration for making a play-in. Congratulations, you won a participation award. I hate the play-in, just like I hate the 7-team playoff team in the NFL. I just think we're giving a spot to a team that didn't show you all regular season that they deserve a shot, and you're just going to give it to them because, oh, we want more money to have more games. It waters down your product and it's bad for business. So yeah, it's very short-sighted on the NBA's to do play-in.
I do agree. I think the play-in is a little bit too extra, but what it does do, Brandon, incentivizes competitiveness.
Well, you should have been competitive for the whole regular season, and you showed that you weren't. You showed that you were the 9th or 10th team in the NBA in that conference. You showed that. And so now I'm supposed to just, oh, here you go. Here's another game where you can possibly get into the playoffs because you had, and now it's just, and I was thinking about this, like now it's an elimination game. It's a 1-game series. Like that would be like if the NFL had a play-in tournament before the playoffs and it was a best of 3. First team to 2 wins gets in the playoffs. And then they go to a 1-game elimination. It makes no sense. Like it should be fair. Anybody can have one great game. Like, let's just say the Wizards end up beating a Brooklyn Nets team that's ranked 8th seed and the Wizards are 9th or whatever. And they have one great game where Bradley Beal goes off for 50 or whatever. And they're clicking on all cylinders. Like, cause that's happened before. Bad teams can have a great game. And now they just knocked out the Brooklyn Nets where we could have saw Nets Celtics matchup in the first round and Nets Bucks matchup in the first round. It's just bad. It's short-sighted. It's bad for business. When you look at it and you're like, oh, we're getting this money and these viewers for this game, but you're not looking at the big picture, and it's just bad for competition and business. I don't like it at all.
This is the NBA. This isn't the NFL. This isn't the MLB where teams actually have a chance. There's no any given Sunday in the NBA. You know who is going to be there at the end. Yeah. It's clear as day. And you know who else knows this? The teams. Portland knows. If they get into a play-in tournament, they're like, all right, what are we really playing for? This is just for fun now because we're going to get waxed in the freaking first round. They know.
Do they?
Yes, they know. Every NBA team knows that. You think the Knicks, if the Knicks got into the 8th seed and they're going toe-to-toe with the Bucks, do you think realistically, outside of us Knicks fans that are going to be rooting our asses off for our team to win.
Don't grip me into that.
But you know for a fact.
You want to know why I say that? Because Damien Lillard is the type of athlete that just has otherworldly type of optimism and confidence. And I have 3 things to say. Number 1, yeah, when you have 82 games to decide the top 8 teams in a conference, you don't need a play-in. You know who are the top 8 squads. The Trailblazers, though, going into last year, had the longest playoff streak in the entire NBA in 8 straight years making the postseason. And I think for a small market like them, there is value in that. The only issue is you go to Portland, and it appears like to me, no one really cares because it's a boring team. Damien Lillard just brings them to the playoffs. They lose in the first round. But this Trailblazers team might just be different. They still have an undersized backcourt. They still have a 6'4" small forward, just like they do with Norman Powell. But at the end of the day, there's a new head coach in here in Sean Z. Phillips. One that is trying to promote this blitzing style scheme with a bunch of great athletes, kind of like the T-Wolves had with Jared Vanderbilt last year and all those other athletes. So they go out and get Gary Payton from the Warriors, steal him from a competitor. Nasir Little's coming off of a torn labrum and his surgery on that. Very good athlete. Shaedon Sharpe, maybe the best athlete from this last year's draft. Just a level of athleticism that is not okay for an 18 or 19-year-old. And of course, Jeremy Grant from the Pistons, who is a fine, above average starting small forward or power forward. And Josh Hart. Josh Hart is one of the most underrated role players in basketball. A guy that when you get him into open space is an absolute bowling ball. Very good on-ball defender, very versatile in the way he can play make, rebound, and most of all, last year he was averaging almost 20 points in the 13 games he played with the team. This Trailblazers team is much better than the iteration that made it to the conference finals in 2019 and won 53 games. There is a case to be made in NBA where the Lakers are injury prone. The Nuggets, their second and third best players are coming off of serious injuries. We don't know what's going on with Karl-Anthony Towns. There's uncertainty every year in the NBA. And because of that, just like we saw a year ago when, or 2 years ago when the Knicks made it to number 4 seed, no one thought they were a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. But that stuff can happen when the right opportunities open. And you have Damien Lillard, to me, is a franchise player. He is that good. He just never has had the star talent around him. This team still doesn't quite have the star talent. But in a way, Anthony Simons is one of the biggest breakout candidates this upcoming season. A guy that was a borderline all-star last year with opportunity. So I don't think it's fair to just write this team off because of their past, because they could surprise a lot of people to make the playoffs.
Okay, but what do we consider successful for the Portland Trailblazers?
Winning a playoff series.
Okay, and I'll be honest with you, that's not going to happen. It's just
not.
I think
for Portland this year is making the playoffs. That's success.
I think that'll be successful.
Playoff series. That would be like the holy grail if they won a freaking playoff series, especially in the West. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, I think the West is way too deep. And realistically, I guess I'm not trying to take a shot at the NBA when I say if you're the 6th seed or below, you're really not being entertained when it comes to the playoffs. You're really not. I mean, who's the lowest seed to ever win an NBA Finals? Wasn't it the Rockets at the 6th seed? And the last 8th seed to make the NBA Finals, if I'm not mistaken, was the Knicks.
8th seed, yeah.
It just doesn't happen. So I mean, I can't even see Portland pulling out a series, especially if they squeeze their way to the 8th seed and they're going toe to toe with the Denver Nuggets or the Clippers. I don't think they stand a single chance. And the West is so deep. A LeBron team could finish 7th in the West, and they actually have a chance. Why? Because it's LeBron.
Yep.
That's the end of that is kind of the fine line. I try to play devil's advocate with this team, but you are right about that.